Someone cannot know that me and you are having sex or not. But they're going to know if we're married by the symbol of our rings and by our certificate. By law, you have to consummate the marriage. That's the covenant. That's the blood part of it. Man should not be alone.
Yeah,
He's going to make you a helpmeet.
that's right.
If you are a man and you don't want to be married, you have a spirit wife somewhere.
Hello and welcome again. Welcome to our podcast. Welcome to Let's Talk Marriage, the podcast. Thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. We're having such a great time. You guys have asked me to bring our guest again, our therapist. She's very good. She's even taking on the name. She's taking on them. She's running with it. And last time we had such a great time and we had to bring her back again. Sarah Nabs, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm fine. Good to see you. You become such a kind of an internet sensation, man. Every time I post your stuff.
You're
man.
exaggerating.
No, I'm not.
That is a massive
Every
exaggeration.
time I post, especially when I post on TikTok, in about 10 minutes, your stuff gets reposted. People are just, making the favorites and all that.
Such an exaggeration.
Honest to God.
Anyway, hi guys. I'm back.
Yeah. Good to see you. Oh my God. Thank you for accepting the invite.
Well,
Last time-
this is like home now.
Yeah,
so
it is, isn't it?
it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. Looking great as usual.
Looking good yourself. Today you're suited and booted again.
Thank you again.
I mean,
I know.
you've been getting suited and
I
booted
know.
layly like
I know,
that,
I
and
know.
I've been
Wondering why, yeah?
giving you a second eye. You looking
just-
for a wife, Chris?
No, I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses.
There must be somebody you're impressing at the moment, and it certainly ain't me.
No. Could be you, as I say.
No, if you're going to impress me, it would have happened a long time ago.
Oh, well.
This
there's
is
a
another
slow burner thing, you remember? Slow burner?
Well, you know me and you.
Yeah, I know.
I'd be too much for you, Chris.
Yeah? Okay, all right then, all right.
Yeah,
On that
let's
note.
not go there.
Yeah,
On that note.
yeah.
Hi, everyone. I am back.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah Nabs. And apparently a resident therapist. Don't ask me why. But just...
You take on the name and,
experience.
and it suits
I
you
have.
and you have the
I am
answers to the questions that people want.
Well, I can't claim I'm an expert, but I can say experience has unfortunately or fortunately taught me some things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Amen. So last time we were speaking about sex as a marriage.
Yeah.
Today we're just gonna carry on from there. And
Started again.
we're gonna speak about spiritual husbands, spiritual wives, soul ties. I think we covered that a bit, soul ties, and what it does to you when you get to someone and then you obviously stay with them. You're not married to them, or even if you're married to them, because it's that covenant. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, if you divorce or separate and you leave them and you go to someone else, if you don't break that covenant, because it's a blood
Spiritually.
covenant. Yeah, spiritual covenant. Do you know what I mean? That will follow you. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And you find that you'll want, or the traits of that person will go with you. You'll kind of be looking for someone, and then you'll be thinking, oh, they're not like so and so, or so and so used to do this for me, or they used to do that. Why is this person not like this? Or you end up like sometimes instead of calling Sarah, you're calling that person's name. Yeah, it's happened.
In the bedroom or outside?
Maybe even when you're having an argument.
Maybe.
Or when you're having a chat and then suddenly that person's name just comes up. Yeah, I know that has happened.
Well, we better start from the beginning because it's a lot. It's a lot to dissect. It's a lot that comes with it. But it starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
You as the individual. I feel like I should ask it. We're going to use you as an example today.
Okay.
Because as we're dissecting these topics, we're going to use us as an example, because that's the only way that we'll be able to be relatable to our audience. And I think this subject can be a little, the young people say techie, it can be a little bit techie. It could be a little bit difficult. It's sometimes a subject that some people maybe avoid. We don't want to hear the truth. There's facts and there's truth. And then obviously there's also a case of where it might not be everybody, but it's something that everyone can relate to. And I want to start positively first and foremost to let people need to know that sex was created by God. It was a gift to a husband and a wife. He created it. He created it for two purposes. One, the main purpose, is procreation. Two, enjoyment, desire, and bringing you and your partner as one, because sex is what seals the covenant of marriage. Because you go before, physically, you go before your parents, your family, your friends, and you let the world know that people say, oh, this is the person I love. That's why we do it. But do you know, really, you're going before God and saying, and the family, that this is the person I'm going to have sex with. Because that's what it was back in the day. And hundreds of years ago, till today, in some areas and some parts of the world, the moment you had sex with that person, you have now what they call seen the nakedness of that woman. She is your wife. That is the seal of her being your wife.
Is that where the consummation came from? When you say consummate
you
marriage?
have to consummate the marriage. That's the covenant. That's the blood part of it. Now, when we go to the church, or some people go to the registration, that's just the physical manifestation. That's just the symbolism, because by law, the things of law, because someone cannot know that me and you are having sex or not. But they're going to know if we're married by the symbol of our rings and by our certificate, by law on earth, because we are still on earth. But in the spiritual realm, there needs to be a covenant to seal it. You know how we seal a contract, we sign it, but then a covenant is deeper, because there's some sort of blood that gets mixed, that has to be mixed, that seals it. And that seal is what's the most important. So when people are talking about, oh, well, but marriage is just a certificate. No, marriage is not just a certificate.
Okay.
So let's go back before we get to that marriage thing. You as me as you as an individual person. Obviously, there is reproduction, there's the science, the biological clock, you know. So as you get older, we all know that you go through your teenage years. I mean, you can tell me from a man's perspective, but a woman's perspective, you know, you get to a point in your teenage years, and unfortunately these day and age, they're having sex even at 11, like they're having sex at such a young age. I don't know whether it's in the food, I don't know what is causing it, but they're having sex such a young age, right? That's a whole other subject as well. You get to a point where you start having the feelings.
Feeling, that's
don't
true.
You? You start having the feelings of wanting to have sex, wanting to be, you know, active, being attracted to the opposite sex, and you're interested. Your body is even telling you you're interested, right? And now, of course, the question is, what do you do about that? Isn't it? What do you do about that? What did you do about it, Chris?
Well, that's a whole
when you I told you we have to be open and frank if this is going to work today.
I mean,
how did you dissect it?
I don't know whether I should say this, but we when I was growing up, I actually can't remember how old I was then. Probably was 14, 15 maybe.
Because these are the things we don't talk about in church, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's all taboo to talk about it. But we need to talk about it.
I was about 14 or 15, I think. And in our house, we used to, when I was growing up, we used to have house helps.
Mm-hmm.
They used to come and, and do the work and so on. And these times, like, I don't know whether it's because my parents had money or not, but I don't think really they had money, but we had 2 house helps at a time for some reason.
Oh, they had money then.
Yeah, well, and they would actually, the house helps come and stay with you.
Yeah.
And they're older women.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I found that there was one particular who took a liking to me, and she kind of decided this was a way to help me get my release. Honestly, I was 15, and actually, I've never thought about it. And I thought, when I grew up later on, actually, when I was of age in this country, I remember, and I was telling a lady that I was dating, and I said to her, when I was younger, we used to have housemaids, and the housemaids used to, kind of do this and that, and she was like, what? That's child molestation and so on. I said,
sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse kind of thing. And I said, I never thought about it that way. But then those days you wouldn't think about things like that.
No, because it wasn't. We don't talk about it.
Yeah, no one talks
it's something
about it.
you keep quiet.
Yeah.
Was she older, or was she like?
She's probably old. I wouldn't know.
Like double your age, roughly.
I wouldn't know how old she was. She probably easily could have been 10 years old.
Okay. Was she attracted? Was she attractive to you at your age?
Her body was attractive. I'm not sure whether her face was. If I saw her today, I wouldn't know how she looked like. But,
yeah. Okay.
But obviously, yeah. And I don't know how it started, but we would kind of meet, we'd have sex on the corridor.
Yeah.
Honestly, of the house, and she liked that urge, that kind of you're gonna be caught doing it and stuff, and we'd rush into a room, and so I kind of looked up for those moments, and I think she must have known that I was kind of growing my hormones all over the place because I'm a young boy and so on. So
and at that age, you're probably ready to do it at every other moment.
She kind of took advantage of that,
Yep. That was sexual abuse, categorical sexual abuse. And we've got to listen, today we're going to be candid, ladies and gentlemen. Be ready for this program, because if you're not ready, switch off now. That's all I will say. Switch off now, because I want us to be open. If the church does not begin to dissect these kind of subjects, people are finding things outside, and then they're opening doors to other things that they never thought was possible, and then their lives are ruined without realizing. So we are trying to find people to set you free. The aim and purpose today is to be set free. Okay? So you've just said something that is so powerful. You didn't know that it was sexual abuse, but this person came along and took advantage. That there was your gate.
I think she kind of obviously took my virginity, if you like.
Oh yeah, of course. That was the gate. She entered the gate. That we can say, and that gate, by the way, is very powerful. Is very powerful for a woman, because obviously the skin, when you first break your virginity, blood can shed. And back in the day, again, that's how they could tell, okay, she was a virgin, because blood was shed when the first time they had. But now, let me ask you a question. Skipping to now, had you ever had sexual encounter with a virgin?
No, I hadn't.
Or you haven't?
No, I haven't. I don't know.
You haven't?
No.
Okay, so you've never actually brought anyone's virginity?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't. And because I thought that was every time, even before I became a Christian, for instance, every time I met a girl and she actually said to me she was a virgin. Oh. Because I've had, a couple of them actually said they're virgins. And I said, I'm not going to be the one responsible for breaking your virginity. actually said that to one of the girls.
Why?
Because I didn't want to be responsible. If you break your virginity and I have to live with the fact that maybe she's not my wife, I'm not going to marry her and I've broken her virginity. And in as much as, do you know what I mean? I don't know. For the lady, she would feel like, oh, it's a good moment. But for me, I would feel like, no, that wasn't the right thing to do. I don't know. Because then, like we could talk about, it's a covenant where the blood is shed and, you know, again, then you come
Obviously,
together.
you didn't know that at the time. You just thought, there's a little fear at least that came upon you that said, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But in all of that, I've lost my train of thought for a minute there, but I was just thinking about, you didn't want to do that to that person, fair enough, but did you ever have anyone to speak to? Now, you see what happened to you originally, your first time having sex. Did anyone speak to you about sex?
I think, okay, fast forward because I was going to tell you something else. I was going to say something else. Now, this house help, there was two of them.
Yes.
So this one left. And then the other one, kind of, who was also, I think she got an inkling that there was something that was happening between me and this one.
Yeah.
So this one left as in went to work somewhere else or she left. And then this one was left. And then when I was left with this one, because she knew what was going on, we were left in the house one time and she was cleaning the house. And she would walk around in a dress, but without any underpants in. And then she would be sweeping the house, bending. And then she can tell that obviously I can see, you know, underneath her dress and all that. So of course,
lasso, like
no, it was a dress, but she
dress,
wouldn't wear anything underneath.
Yeah.
And she would walk around the house cleaning the house and, you know, and then bending and so on and so forth. And I'm like, what are you doing? So it's kind of like an invitation.
Yes.
So then we ended up having sex with her as well. This girl. And I was like, what the heck? I enjoyed it. But she got to a point where she stopped it. She didn't want it to carry on. But I wanted to carry on. So every time I would meet her, I would say, oh, no, can we? And then she would say, no. Do you know what I mean? But so it was kind of when she wanted it, but if I wanted it, she wouldn't want us to have it. But I got to a place where I got confused. I was like, no, what's going on here? Okay, you know? Emotions all over the place. Now I've been introduced to something that I didn't know. And
thank you. The gate. Remember what I said about the gate? The gate had opened.
Yeah.
Now I'm being candid. Now the spirit was on you.
I can imagine, yeah. And then now the problem is, this house help left. And every time another house help came along who wanted to come and live with us, every time I would want to have sex with them.
Yes.
Because I kind of felt that maybe this is how it's built. I could like, okay, I've got all these emotions and I would want to do this and, you know. And I would kind of, when my mom or my parents are not seeing, I would kind of want to touch them. One time I even entered the bed of one of them when she was sleeping. And I wanted to have sex with her. Because she was friendly, I thought that's all she wanted. Now she said, Chris, what are you doing? She went and reported me to my mom.
But you were a bit older by now, I'm assuming.
Maybe a year old or something.
Okay,
I was still in my teens, younger in my teens and all that, you know. And she said, what are you doing? And it happened to two of them who came after me. And then when he said speaking to me, my mom actually said to me, listen. She actually, when one of the maids told her what was going on, that, oh, Chris came to the room and he was naked or he was trying to touch me. And she goes, my mom said, listen, this thing of yours that is bothering you, as in this penis of yours is bothering you, I'm going to cut it and I'm going to hang you in the tree. She's actually joking.
Yes,
but she's just trying to tell me that, listen,
to try and
you need to keep your emotions in check. You need to. You know. But I mean, since then, it didn't happen again. And I think when my mom noticed what was going on, she stopped bringing all these mates to house helps because she thought, this is kind of, it's getting out of hand. This is what's going on here. Maybe because she couldn't speak to me, like tell me, look, this is not the right thing to do and so on.
Yeah, because she didn't, because that would have been an open invitation to maybe also talk to you about sex and how it should be and how it shouldn't be or whatever, when it's right, when it's not right, and, you know, when it's abuse and when it's love. But I guess she didn't. Did you have mum and dad in the same household?
Yes, I've grown up with my mum and dad.
And dad?
Yeah, my dad as well. But my dad never talked about sex. They never talked about sex. I think it's those kind of African parents who don't think that things are going to work. You're going to know as you go along. And then maybe when you go to school, they're going to teach you and so on and so forth. And they didn't really talk about it. But I guess luckily for me, I went to a school again. My primary school, when I went to the school I went to, it was all boys. And there was a girls' school separate. So we kind of start getting taught about sex and all biology and they bring the girls to our school and they make us mix in the class. And then the teacher would say, "You're sitting with an opposite sex, how do you feel?" That's what the teacher would say.
Really?
Yeah. How do you feel?
Gosh.
Do you know what I mean? And they kind of want to kind of introduce us to kind of, the female, this is your female, and this is, how you need to behave when you're the lady, and how you need to, how biology works, and, about sex and stuff. And that's when I kind of started learning it. But we never really taught I never even knew that when you have, I think I learned this in the street, where when you have sex with a lady, a child comes from having sex with a lady. I learned that from the street. A guy said to me, he was talking about sex, and I said, "You know what? I don't want to. Why are you talking about sex? That's not something we should talk about as we're young people." He says, "This is not talking about sex. That's how you and me came about. That's how we were given, we were conceived." I said, "Really?" I said, "No." I said, "Yes. That's how we were conceived." I didn't know. I was so naive, and I had to go and do my research later.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
But you had already been having sex,
Absolutely.
but not even realizing.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep crying.
Yeah.
But you had not realized that it was.
This was what was gonna be the result of carrying on. I didn't know that. Someone in the street just said, "The boy, I think, was a neighbor."
African people, honestly,
You know.
And you know what? There is so many people who are probably going to be listening to this and are going to so relate to this because we don't talk. Now imagine you had to go and hear that out on the streets, and instead of mum, God bless her, to have that conversation with you when she found out that you were trying to get sexually active, or even dad, they didn't bother. But I was exactly the same thing. I didn't get no discussions, no nothing. In fact, for me, my mum and dad found out I was sexually active when I had a miscarriage in hospital.
Wow.
At 17 years old.
At least you're much older than, yeah. Okay, still.
So, yeah, because it's funny because I wasn't sexual like that for a long time, or even that much interested in sex in my teenage years, because I think of sexual abuse. And because of that sexual abuse, I didn't say I didn't like men, but I was not into men to come near me in that way. And somehow I found myself having lots of friends who were boys, and because I was in like gangs and stuff like that in my teenage years. So say from like 13 years old all the way through probably till about 23.
Wow.
So for about 10 years of my life, I was living a crazy lifestyle on the streets of England, because I came here when I was about 7 years old.
Oh, wow, okay.
I was, 1990. Yeah, 1990. So I was born in Uganda, and then I came here. And then when I came here, obviously mum and dad were together, and then they separated. And then in that separation, it's just me and my young brother, and my mum have to go with work and stuff like that. So sometimes, because of, African parents, you have to work, especially here and stuff like that. Yeah. Somehow she would have to keep, sometimes I have to go and stay at our cousin's house. And there's these older cousins who would go to their house. And when we'd go to their house, I can't say much, because actually, as we speak right now, it's been reported, and it's going to go into a trial. But I know 30 years later, but I'll have an opportunity to get back to that in a minute. And I can tell you how it affected me and why we're having this topic today, because it's very important people understand it can affect your life. But to go back then, we would go to these cousins' house during the holidays and stuff like that. And during the holidays, one cousin would think that they could just come and, touch me and do all sorts of things, touch you however they want to touch you,
Wow.
in all the different places.
What was your reaction then to that?
Well, at first, I think I was stiff because I didn't understand what's exactly going on.
How old were you at this time?
I would say I was about 11, 12.
It's young. Sarah.
Yeah, I was young because I had not yet started going to secondary school, but almost secondary school. So which is around 13 by the time you start year 11, because then we moved to East London. But in that time, in those that age bracket, he would come into the room, cousins are sleeping, he would lie on next to the bed, and he would have his penis out, whatever it is, whatever he was doing, and he would try to touch me but he's at the back of me most of the time. He would come from the back. So
And how are you lying? Are you lying on your back?
So now I'm lying facing on my side. I'm lying on my side. So when he comes, he lies.
on the back.
Yeah. So he's trying to, and you can feel that he was hard and everything. But because I think, other cousins around me who were younger cousins, and they're probably also almost dead asleep, so to speak, I think he couldn't quite get in. So he would at least touch. But the thing is, I took so long to develop, so I didn't really have boobs. I didn't have big boobs. I had pretty much no boobs, actually. And I was quite small. But I'd always had a bit of a bum. And so he would do all of that. And I think he came in like 3 times. It happened on a couple of occasions. And then, you just sort of push, but you're scared. You don't understand what's happening. And then one time, I don't know what it was. I think he really tried to push it in. So I had to push him. I was like, what are you doing? And I pushed him and he fell on my cousin, because I had a cousin that was sleeping also on the floor. And he sort of fell in the cousin, and I told him, if you ever touch me again, I'm going to tell my whole entire family. So somehow, I think I then started telling my mum that I didn't like to go to their house.
But you didn't tell her what was going on?
But I didn't tell her because we didn't have that relationship to tell her with my mum those kind of things. Like I said, we just weren't having those convos. And just somehow, one day I'm having conversations with my cousins now, my other cousins, and we find out he's been doing this.
To them as well?
He also had done some sort of encounter. They also had an encounter with him. Mine was the worst. Another one, maybe touching of the bum. Like little things had happened to them as well, but it wasn't as bad as what he was doing to me. So we went and we did try and tell mum and dad. Not mum and dad, mum and my auntie. And Chris, they just told us to keep quiet.
Oh.
They told us to keep quiet. I love you, mum, forgive you, everything, all of that. But
yeah, you expect that, innit?
They told us to keep quiet. And then it went on. And meaning they told us to keep quiet. So that incident moved on. But that affected me. But indirectly, I might have not seen it until later on. But it affected how I interacted with men. I was just off-put by men. And I was scared of sex. And then I grew older and we moved to East London. Now, my mum had one of a Ugandan restaurant in East London that was sort of like a bar. Now, I'm tall. I'm developing. Maybe men are not that much. Some are into boobs, but anyway, I guess I'm looking like a woman, and I'm looking attractive to some men. But they don't know that I'm only 14 years old. So of course, some men would touch you. You're serving, you're helping mum because you're coming back from school, then you'd go home, you'd help mum to serve in the restaurant. You got the older men, so they're a bit touching you and being touchy-feely and that sort of thing. So that was sort of a...
So even the men touching you, you couldn't even tell your mum anyway because they really told you.
Yeah, but I became angry now. Now I'm starting to get really angry. And I'm now having that resentment towards men, and probably a bit of resentment towards my mum, because I'm thinking she doesn't know what's going on, and I'm getting angrier and angrier. Then I'm becoming more friends, more more into my friends on the street, like my friends on the street. So you're going out, you're hanging out, you're doing all kinds of crime and all kinds of madness going on. And I'm sort of, my mind turned to more like money and, you know, ways of making money and focusing on that kind of stuff. And I was never into the sexual girl. I was more the smoke weed, money, you know, drink alcohol, drink, party, go out and club. And, you know, that was me. Now, going back to our subject of topic today, that was a gate. That was also a gate. But I'd not yet broke my virginity.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And when I did break my virginity at 17...
Was it someone that you liked?
It was a friend. Okay. We were just good friends. And we were high. We were in the we will say the right place at the right time, because we were high. We were at a friend's house. And we just so happened to have sex. And it just, let's have sex.
You didn't talk about it, you just did it? Or?
Not that we didn't talk about it, but I think I liked him and he liked me. So we just had sex. And I could tell you bleed and then you sort of get over it. But then you're like, oh, wow, I had sex. Okay, I've done it now.
Was there an excitement? Or
No, it wasn't a good experience, but it wasn't a bad experience. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't where I'm being sexually abused. It wasn't rape. It wasn't that. But it was, okay, I've had sex. But remember, I'm also high. So in this highness, I'm not thinking nothing of it. I've had sex with the guy I liked. We hang around. Most evenings we will hang around together anyway, getting high in his car with his other friends while they go around either robbing somebody or doing some kind of madness during that time. And you're just following along because you're the girl in the car and you're the girl who might hold their equipment and stuff like that in the bag. If the police stop them, obviously you're a passenger. In those years, they didn't stop you. So those kind of things were going on in my teenage life, and I never had the conversation with my mum until now. I get pregnant for him.
So you carried on having sex with him, or was it?
Yeah, we carried on having sex, but it was in the car, in his friend's house most of the time, or his house. But because it was a bit older, but he'd shared house, like a room, friends and stuff like that. And I got pregnant. And then one day I was I was pregnant and I thought, I'm going to have the baby. And those years, I don't know anyone can relate, if anyone relates, but we had this mentality of, well, if I'm pregnant, I'm going to have this child, I'm going to get a council house. Yeah. And,
I think it's a mentality till today.
Yeah, so it was one of those things that I was going to do. So, and then I started bleeding whilst I was driving back home one night. I started bleeding really heavily. So I drove myself to Newham Hospital in East London. Yeah, and I went to hospital. And when I went to hospital, obviously I was 16. So when you're 16, they can't really tell your parents what's happened, but you need to tell somebody. So I told Mum, and they had to come to the hospital. I told the doctors they shouldn't tell my mum anything. But anyway, somehow, my mum, I think, just sort of knew, because they said I had pelvic inflammatory disease that caused me to have a miscarriage. So my mum and dad was very upset with me at the time. I think things went a little bit left from there. But now going back to our subject, the gate was open. I opened the gate. I had we've both been having sex out of wedlock. But now if you look back in your life now and you look at the trail of how now you've got to where you are today, you will know that some of the things that have happened to you and why they've happened to you is because we did things out of God's ordinary, what's the word? trail the way he has ordained for it to be and how it should be, and you are going to suffer the consequences, because that man did not love me. He loved me, but he did not love me. He didn't love me enough to want to honor me to be his wife. Because even after the miscarriage, we just picked up where we left off. And we carried on, and I carried on just hanging around with them and all of that, until actually my parents then actually found out that I was smoking weed, and they sent me back to Uganda for like a year. No, not a year, sorry, for like a month. It was a month and a half. And then somehow that's where I found God, actually, in Uganda. And that was when I was about 18.
Okay.
That gate of having sex outside of the marriage covenant is what then allows demons and spiritual entities to come in. That's where you're opening up room for all kinds of soul ties, because now those soul ties on both of us were on us. And I tell you now, I've never stopped thinking about that first man that I slept with. I don't think about him now, because I think now I'm healed, but because now I'm telling the story. But it took me a long time, because I would always think about him. And it wasn't that the sex was great or anything like that, to be fair. But he was somebody you just think of, you always think about. Until this day, if I was to meet him, we're actually very good friends. We're very good friends. We don't talk anymore like that, but we will just pick up where we're all right, you know. But that spirit of that soul tie had now added on with the sexual abuse that had already happened. That was added on. As a woman now, you might not see it, but in the spirit realm, that is a tie. That is a tie that I have now embarked on my soul. I have put intertwined with my soul. And that will now affect all other relationships. And for some people, if you don't know, if you probably had the conversation with mum and dad, you would have found that maybe something similar happened to them, one or the other. When I've done my research, we see that there's been sexual immorality in my family bloodline. So that thing only just comes and adds on. And it's from there where then also spirit husbands and spiritual wives
come about,
enter in. They enter in through sexual immorality, and then they can control you without realizing. Now, some women take it all the way into their marriage. Some women, it totally ruins them and they never get married. Some women go through it and it kills them. It kills them. That spirit husband can get to a point where it can kill you because of jealousy. And it can use a man or anything to get rid of you because you belong to it. It can cause you to have miscarriages because they don't want you to carry.
Yeah.
And it also then can even add on, because when you have a miscarriage, also that blood can be intertwined.